I think it's, everybody knows, obviously, Andre's not just going to take Frank Mir down. It's always a bad idea, right? And Andre's really shown how good he's been. I believe in the last 10 fights, he's 9 wins, 1 loss. And in his UFC comeback, 2 knockouts in a row, and both of those guys that he knocked out, oh my goodness, those are 2 of the best heavyweights we have in the UFC. So I think everybody knows this is going to be a firefight. Everybody knows it's going to be sort of a slugfest. But game planning wise, remember that Frank Mir's bread and butter's the submissions and submission of the century, right? So I know that Andre will do his best to keep it on his feet for as long as he can. But trying to prevent Frank Mir from taking you down now it's almost impossible. Really, when you think about the last 2 fights with Frank, he hasn't even gotten past that 2-minute mark because he's just hurting people with his hands so much. So can you imagine if this does go past that 2-minute mark, what Frank's going to do to Andre? And if Andre doesn't respect that takedown, that takedown's coming for sure. So I think it'll be an interesting fight. I honestly don't believe it's going to go past 2 rounds. I think it's going to be that explosive. Andre Arlovski is a phenomenal boxer. We have to keep in mind that Andre worked with Freddie Roach for 2 years, who was the guy that taught me so much in boxing, and I was there. I was there at Wildcard Gym for those 2 years at Andre, and those are the times he was outboxing people like Ben Rothwell, and smashing them during those old affliction fights, right? And even in the Fedor fight, he was winning that fight. He just kind of stupidly jumped up and did a flying knee and got knocked out, right? But his boxing is phenomenal. He's got great jab, great movement, awesome right hand. And that right hand is so devastating. We already know from the Travis Brown fight how much he hurt Travis with the right hand. So we know that about Andre. I think that everybody right now is still trying to find out more and more about Frank. What's interesting with Frank right now is he's constantly developing himself. He's a true martial artist. He's always picking up styles. So you might have noticed in the Silva fight, he was more like Oscar De La Hoya, right? Righty, orthodox, using a lot of left-hand jabs. But then in the Duffy fight, he was more like Manny Pacquiao, right? In fact, I think he knocked out Duffy with the same exact shot that Manny Pacquiao knocked out Ricky Hatton with. So, so is Frank going to come out more like Manny Pacquiao this time or more like De La Hoya? We're going to see. But as far as Andre goes, I don't think Andre's really changed his boxing style too much. I know that his kicks are very dangerous, which Frank and I were working on that too. Ricky Lindell asked me, he said, "Hey, Angelo, I need to make sure that you cover all of these things on the striking aspect." So we're going to be ready for everything that Andre brings to the table. But yeah, in terms of boxing, I've been asked these questions too. Do I believe Andre's a better boxer than Frank Mir? And I really don't. I don't. I think he's an amazing boxer, and I definitely think he's top 3 in boxing for MMA, but I don't think he's better than Frank Mir in boxing. I don't believe Andre would be able to stop Frank Mir when Frank eventually takes him down. I just don't. I know that there is that belief that maybe Andre could, but Frank Mir is a whole nother animal when it comes to grappling. When it comes to wrestling and when it comes to grappling, Frank Mir is just a whole nother animal. I don't believe there is anyone better than Frank Mir when it comes to that style. So stylistically, I think that you'll probably find Andre Arlovski running a lot, because he'll be really scared to get taken down by Frank. And if it goes to the ground, man, I'm looking for another submission of the century for that one for sure. So, and then in terms of the stand-up game, I guess, we're just gonna have to find out this Saturday what happens. A lot of times, we can talk it through. Stylistically though, you got Frank's left hand against Andre's right hand. Kind of an explosive match, so we'll see. Either one of them could really hurt each other when it comes to the stand-up, which, it could end up being like a Hagler versus Hearns. Remember that fight, right? So it could end up something like that, too.